So hi everybody and welcome back to this C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 21 and in this video we are talking about operators. We already started a little bit, but that was just the need for if statements, and in this video we are talking in detail a little bit what we need, but not all operators as well. So some operators was this assignment, this equal operator, and we learned also the assignment operator, which we see here on top. And we learned here this one, you saw it, this is a special operator, our overloaded operator, which we have not talked and will not talk so fast because this is a little bit advanced stuff. And yeah, we talk about operators, and let's go first to the Wikipedia and see what operators are. And in operators, you can see are just this little signs between operands, for example. We have here different categories. For example, the arithmetic operators. This probably you know from math, plus, minus, and there are some others which you probably don't know, which we will learn during this tutorials. But at start, just learn plus, minus, multiplication, addition. They are called multiplication, division, and the just standard math stuff. Only the four we learn here, but of course you can watch the other ones too, but don't worry if you don't understand them. I will introduce them when we need them. So here, but this is arithmetic operators, just math operators. And then we have this comparison operators. This one we learned in our if statement. We need this equal to operator, and then we will need also this not equal to, because this is the opposite. So here it should be equal, here it should be not equal, and that's very handy too in if statements. And of course we have here again a little bit for math operations, greater, for example, one number is greater than the other, or less, or even greater, less, and less equal. So let's see what operators we have here. We have here logical operators. This one we skip at start. Perhaps later we will definitely use this AND operator, but this other two perhaps too, but later, not so fast, because this is a very nice operator for concatenation and checking things, but not at start, later. This one we skip at all at start, because this one is a very special operator and it's more for advanced stuff or special cases where you will need it. So you will not need it at start. And you see here that this bit left shift operator, here are our angel brackets here again a little bit, and here is this operator included too, but I'm not sure if this is the same operator like this stc out, because I think this one is overloaded, or this one is, yeah, we will see this one when we come. This one is, we skip this as starter, we don't need that. Later perhaps yes, when we go a little bit more intermediate and advanced stuff, there we will need it. So let's go on. The assignment operator, we have learned this one. This is our equal sign, but it's called in programming assignment operator, very important. And here we have some shortcuts. Later what these are I will show you. At start we don't need them. And let's see what operators we have. Member and pointer operators. Pointer we will learn when we learn pointers. And here we have other operators, special operators, and there are special operators. A comma is not a special operator. This one we know probably, a comma to separate some things, but how to use them, it's another story, because these operators, what you see here, you probably know many of them, but the important thing is how we use that in programming, right? And that's why we have to make, even if they are simple operators, still example with these simple operators to learn how to use them with variables, how to call them, and in certain places. Let's go on. Here we have a special operator, we will use that. Here is our scope resolution operator that we had in our stdc out, for example, and that this one we will use later all time for classes and so on. We will not use using std, something like that, a namespace, so that we have to write all time the scope resolution operator. We will use that definitely, and the other ones we will they are not so important at start. Later, yes, this new definitely, and this casting also all comes later on their places. So here are many operators which we should not use at start, and in the end we have only here actually is around 5-7 operators which we will talk at start, and these are the math operators, this plus, minus, and then multiplication, division, equal we learned, and so on. Okay, this one you can watch this site if you want. It's on Wikipedia, just simple operators in C, C++. Don't worry if you don't understand here much, because most operators which you see here have a special meaning, and I will introduce you in this tutorial series when we need them. So let's go back to our code. Here we have still our program, and this one we will now put in a file if you want and save it anywhere. I just use here comment, uncomment, oops, wrong, comment C and comment them and cut them out, so I make room, and later I will put them in another file just here, so we can go on. What I did here, I cut a little bit more out than I should, doesn't matter. Let's get rid of this one, and let's bring back here our curly braces. So we are back to our start point. This one I will just put later or delete it later anywhere. So let's continue. So we have operators. I said we will start with very basic operators, for example, multiplication, addition, and so on. And I forgot something very important to mention. Yes, I did it again. Here, when we scroll down there, it says operator precedence, and that means just which operator has a priority over the other operator. But what means that? What means priority over the other operator? Priority means if the compiler reads a line and it finds that there are many operators, then this list here will determine which operator it will execute first. And to make an easy example, we use a math example, because this there you probably learned it or not, but there it's a very easy example, and we make this one. Let me make an example first with a comment. So you know this one, I have here the number 5. I use the operator plus, and then plus, and then I use a second number 3, and then I multiply this one with 6. So if I have this one, precedence here means just that the operator which has a higher priority will be executed first. And when we watch here the list and go a little bit down, it says here multiplication is priority 5, and addition here is priority 6, which means here priority multiplication is higher. So it will execute first this one, and then it jumps back and execute this one. And this one we have to check all time till we learned them. Not all time, it's very easy actually. But actually it's very easy, because there are only math operations. You make it intuitively most time right. And if you make it accidentally wrong, don't worry. Then there is an error file, and it will put out a strange number here. So let's go for an example fast. Let's create 2. Let's make this example what we have here, this 5 plus 3, and we learn also how to use them. And of course we are working with variables. So what we have to do first here, the first thing, we start all time with variables. Let's create 2 now. let's create these numbers here, which we need 536. Okay, and first number, and we can assign them. We use here a direct assignment because now I know the number and I don't have to assign them later. I can directly assign them, right? First number is 5. Very good. And this one is what operator? Is our assignment operator, which is which we learned before too in our list, anywhere there on top. And then second number, int second number we make 3, and in my third number we make 6. And now, okay, now we have the numbers. The question is now how we calculate something in programming. So can I write here just 5 plus 3 my 6 and make here a semicolon? Will this work? You see, no arrow. That looks good, right? And if I compile, that looks also good. That looks not bad, but it's wrong. So what is wrong here? The point is, it takes this number. It is not this number actually. It takes just the number 5. In the background, it because these numbers and these operators are included in C++ already. So these are, let's say, very basic elements, and that's why, first of all, that's why it is not complaining about them. And the second thing is strange is also that we just can write it down, because normally we would expect, yes, we have wrote it, but where we save that now? Because we have no save place here, or we have not outprint, or we have nothing here. We have just wrote here 5 plus 3 multiplied by 6, and then what, right? That's the problem here, and we have to assign a result, or yeah, we have to see how we use that correctly. And there are different ways. This one is also one way to use it, but here we have nothing. We have just use it and wasted place actually. That's not the way to use it, but let's make it useful. So how we can make it useful? Because normally when you have numbers, you want a result. For example, you give sense to these numbers. Let's give sense. So I want a result, for example, calculation result. Okay, let's make a int, a variable which says calculation result. Calculation and here I make this semicolon. I saved it, and we learned this one, right? This one is just a declaration, but there is something which I have not told you about this declaration. And what is that? Let me tell you this one fast too. When you declare this one and assign not a value like here directly to it, this variable here will have a default value which is randomly generated from C++. And what I mean with that is, let me show you that this way. When I put here a not here on the side, this will be a debug, and debug means it will stop here and we can read the result here later. And I press here enter, and it jumps to this point. Okay, why it's jumping to the normally I put it here. Okay, what was there? I put here, why is that there? One more time. I don't know. All right. I have to, okay, this debug is not really working like I intended. I want it not this way. Perhaps I want not waste now time with debug, and so I'll show you debug later a little bit more in detail, but I thought let's do here. Let's see if I can make this one just jumping to this point. Okay. All right, let's continue this debug thing later. What I mean with that, it will create a random number between between this int range, which is between minus 2 billion till 2 billion. So, but yeah, it is most time you will read it is not intended, so you can, if you want, assign still a number to this one as a default, your own number, for example 0. You can make this will be later overwritten anyway, so we can continue. And now I have now a calculation result. Let's write the calculation result. I want to calculate these numbers here. Okay, let's calculate these numbers. And here I use my assignment operator because I calculate this and then assign this to this variable. Let's do this. First number, my first number. I add this to my second number. And I multiply this with my third number. And now I make a semicolon. This one will just calculate it, but we have again a problem. There's no output. So we want to see the output here. Let's run how we put something out. We already learned std : cout edge brackets, and we write, for example, our variable name, but it's not descriptive. Let's write here one more thing because we want it more descriptive. Let's do it this way. We learned this also, how to describe something, and I write here calculation result. Indeed, calculation result. Yeah, our calculation result is something so something like that, and then here save this and start this, and we have calculation result is 23. And when we see this, so now we learned also a little bit to use the arithmetic operator in programming. And very important here again, let's go here back to our priority list here. If this was not a priority list, for example, if this was like left to right execution, which means you start here, then add this one, that would be 5 plus 3, 15, and then add with 6 would be 13, but this 30, and this one is not the case. That's why it is doing the other way around. It's multiplying this one first, which is 6 multiplied by 3 is 18, and then adding 5, which is then our 23 result, which we have here. Good. So this was one example, and I think I stop here, but I say we have to train this, and the arithmetic examples here are very easy. You can try to do some examples with subtraction, multiplication, division, and all other you can skip here. Then equal sign, you probably know this equal sign and not equal sign. You can train here a little bit with our if statements, which we learned last video, and we will use the if statement soon again with this one and with this one as well, because that's why we learned this arithmetic operations, because these operators here, what you see here, they are perfect candidates for if statements, because we have their all-time check in if statement conditions, and these operators are so suited for this case, for this purpose. Absolute perfect, because you can say if this is greater, or if this is equal, or if this is less, or if this is not the same, or whatever you can do with these operators, almost express all what you want. I think I talked too much again. I stop here. We will continue with operators and if statements again in the next video, because we talked much about them, but we have not done much about with them. So we need to write again a program. And we have to define a program again a little and start like our little riddle program. We write now a new program again. And let's see you in the next. Bye.